Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Nicola, and today we're having a look at Trails by Fracture Sounds, but also Alexander Parsons. I know absolutely very little about this, except that it's some kind of a string instrument thingy-majingy. They call this one Evocative Soundscapes. And again, this is one of those collaboration libraries that it seems Fracture Sounds is doing more and more of, which I think is pretty cool. So they take a composer and they work with them to make a library that presumably both of them want to be creating. I've tried to remain in as much darkness as possible regarding this library, and also, as I usually do, I like to go in blind so you get my full authentic response to this. So I've actually stayed away from all clips possible, so I really don't know what this sounds like at all. First of all, a bit late on this because I had some issues with the installation, not because of anything on the Fracture Sounds end, but I think it was because my native native access software was not up to date, up to par, so it didn't allow me to actually download download the library at all. It just allowed me to try and locate it, which I couldn't do because I didn't load it. So I did manage to download it on my laptop, and then I did update native access also on my computer so I could get it here. But long story short, that's why I'm a bit late on this. But hopefully still some of you are going to find this useful, regardless of this being released some time ago already. And also, sorry, apologies to Fracture Sounds for not getting this out sooner. So they call this Trails Evocative Soundscapes. Enter the world of documentary and drama composer Alexander Parsons. His collection of evocative soundscapes and string textures. Unique performances also includes incredibly rare Faulkner Dulcichord tabletop piano and a newly designed granular synthesis engine. Cool. That's actually pretty promising because before I've been pretty close to buying Fracture Sounds Granulate, I think it was called. And again, the only reason I didn't is because I can't buy absolutely everything and I'm broke, and I try not to buy stuff unless I'm using it right now. So, but that has been very tempting for me for a long time. I wonder, is it still? Because if I remember, I have a memory that it was discontinued. So maybe this is like a new... Yeah, seems like it's discontinued. So really interested in seeing how that pans out and how that works. I love granular synthesis. I love granular stuff, granular effects, etc. So very much up my alley. I know absolutely nothing about Alexander Parsons. So first of all, apologies for that. I'm not educated on your work, but I guess that your sound will, exude through this library as well. So interested in getting to know that, and also I will check your work in the future for sure. But I do apologize for my ignorance regarding that. Okay, information on the website is pretty sparse regarding that. There is a video that I'm sure is very nice because Fracture Sounds have been producing very nice videos for their stuff. All right, so seems like this is still in the intro sale period. I haven't been asked to mention that. I just thought it would be fair to mention it. And if you enjoy this, then you probably want to buy it. And this way, it's, you still have a chance to get it cheaper. Full price in euros, which are what I see here, is 149 euros. And intro sale is 99 euros. So you save a good percentage on that. We'll see. If I remember, I'll probably make some remarks about whether I think that's fair or not. But I mean, overall, so far, pricing for Fracture Sounds has been very fair, very competitive. You get stellar quality at a very accessible price. I really like their pricing overall. So I don't see why this wouldn't be in the same vein. And apparently Alexander Parsons is also a violinist, so I wonder if it's his playing in here. At least I can't see it here. Yeah, I can't see it. Maybe it's in the manual, but yeah. Runs in the free Contact player, NKS compatible. This is 12 gigs, so pretty much what I expected sound-wise. Don't want to dig too deeply into the about section here, so I don't spoil this. And I also want to see how well this opens up itself just through the interface. But this has been a department that's pretty well nailed down by Fracture Sounds. So solo string textures, Granular Engine, cool. Then they have this, what do they call this? The layer thingy-majingy that was in Zen, which I liked, which I gave some feedback on, so interested in seeing if some of that is integrated. Yeah, Faulkner Dulcichord, cool. Articulations, Emergence. So these are sort of creative names and interpretations of different textures, rather than actual like ones typically used in classical music. Emergence, flickers, divergence. We'll see that once we go into it. Let's not spend time on that. Cool. 16 string articulations, textures, 28 synth recordings and performances. That's a fair bit. The incredibly rare Dulcichord. They really want to make it clear that, hey, if you want your goddamn Dulcichord, you better get this freaking library, man. 57 granular presets, articulation switching. This is something I ballsed up with Petrichor, because I thought like when you activated multiple textures that it was a bug, but apparently it affected the transition somehow. I don't think I heard anything that I heard. That's not a sentence, but yeah, layer blends engine is the word that I was looking for. Recorded in a dry space. I actually like it. It might sound funny that it's written there, but I actually really like that because I tend to like tighter, drier sounds, and if I want to put reverb on there, I'll do it myself. Not to say that libraries that have reverb either baked in or in the effects engine can't be good. They often, I wouldn't say often, they can be sometimes. But I prefer this. I think it's more important that the ambience is right, because when you record something, you can't avoid capturing a certain ambience, even if it's super dry, even if it's super dead. Still there is an ambience. That's the most important thing, because that ambience will then play with reverbs in a nice way. So, which has been something that has been pretty solid. Well, actually very solid with Fracture Sounds, especially with like Tom Factory and stuff like that. Cool. Runs in the free Contact player 6.7 or later. I have really big problems pronouncing numbers. It's getting worse and worse every year. Cool. All right. Let's put this away. Put this bookimaging thingy over here, and I'll take myself to Studio One. Oh yeah, I think first things first. I can't speak. First things first. Fracture Sounds did send me this copy, so first of all, thank you for doing that. That being said, as always, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it is only trails in action. I don't add any effects, no reverb, delays, nothing. I only have a limiter on the master bus to make the level good and consistent and watchable and listenable for this video. It's set to be as transparent as possible, so that's that. If you hear any clipping, I'll let you know what is causing it, if it's the limiter or the library. Probably not the library, but in the rare case that that might happen, I'll let you know. Anything else? I don't think so. Let's dive into trails. So when you open this up in the side panel here under the main page, drop menu, you have 7 different instruments to be used. Solo violin textures, solo cello textures, violin and cello combined, Faulkner Dulcichord, synths, granular, lightweight granular presets. So quite a bit of scope here. I was expecting only to get like the strings, but it shows you that this is more of a kind of artistic instrument approach in itself. Like it's a package of things that probably sit pretty well together, and obviously that's understandable also from the perspective of having a composer, and presumably they have their own style and sound, so that's what they wanted to kind of put into this library. But a good set of things, so you don't just get one thingy majingy here. But we have solo violin textures here. In terms of the interface, again, super solid. I love Fracture Sounds interfaces, and they just have been getting better and better. I love this new approach, even though older ones were already very well laid out, but this is just, you know, more modern and refined and up to date. Settings, we have some credits here, which is fantastic to include. Tightness, dynamic range, key switch range. Oh, that's cool that you can actually change that. I actually have to check more libraries out if they have that. that's very convenient. Noise mode. Lo-fi, always on. Ah, interesting. So it has that kind of a, presumably like a noise artsy sound. Well, I shouldn't say artsy. It's a part of the sound of the library, I would presume. Cool. Dynamics you can control there. Yeah, it maps to the mod wheel over here. Lo-fi, which is the noise we just talked about. Delay, and then reverb. Below those we have 4 boxes which each represent the different textures or the articulations. Emergence, flickers, divergence, ricochet. What kind of? It's the second demo of the day, so forgive me. Short, swells. That's what some of you have back at home. Stutters, reflections, deviations. I love the fact that they have these visual representations here in the boxes. More devs should do this. This is a very fast way for me to get an idea of what these things do. When I'm composing, I already have an idea of what I'm after, so I don't have to browse through a lot of different words to see what I'm after. I can just look and go, that could work here, and try it out. Fantastic, brilliant design stuff on that end. So full points for whomever did that. maybe we could check that. Go into the settings. It doesn't have a arts person here as far as I can tell, but I'm sure many of these people had something to do with this as well. On the right we have a kind of a mixer with the raw sound. We have atmosphere layers called vortex, ethos, and verdant. And then I mean, these are only for this one sound. Let me actually just to make sure I do this the right justice here. I just want to open this up super fresh. Yeah, so when you click on a atmosphere name, it opens up this box, and this gives you all of these different atmosphere style layers. So a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of different atmospheres to choose from. Big fan of the atmosphere layers, and like I've said before, I'd love to have more control over those, but I understand if that can't be done due to how they are made. As I understand, they are probably not like active effects layers, but maybe recorded something. But yeah, I mean, obviously more control over those would be great, but they have been made in a very, very good, mature, refined way, so they actually do pretty much the job you want in most cases, especially with this intensity control, which is affects the kind of the how much stuff is going on there. So yeah, here we have the, okay, so here you see what I'm talking about. You can choose two of them, or sorry, many of them at the same time, which still confuses me, but apparently had something to do with the transitions between them. I'll try and see if I can figure that out. Starting with Emergence, let's play. So this is default stuff. We'll probably first have to get a level going, but let's start playing. Limiter clipping, still getting a level here. So, first of all, beautiful sound. I love the textures. I love the movement. This seems like super down my alley. Very, the dynamics are very rich. So this is kind of obviously goes hand in hand with the style, that the dynamics are very fluctuating and big. Are they too much? We'll have to see. We'll have to play more of this. But sometimes, like, okay, there are some things you can do about, you know, you could bring something, well, obviously like an EQ or like a Soothe to control some of the resonances. Sometimes I find you can still have fantastic dynamics without, you know, blowing up the meter space, like the actual energy that you're trying to control in the mixing environment. I find that sometimes these resonances that come up that vastly change the level that we're dealing with here don't really necessarily contribute to the sound of it. So I'll get a more consistent level. I'll still get the same perception of dynamics, but without the swelling of certain or resonances of certain frequencies. So but let's play more. I'll try and find a level here that we can work with without any of those adjustments, but let's play more. This sound is really beautiful. Alright, so I'm testing the velocity here. Definitely velocity sensitive. But especially with this amount of reverb and the resonances we get, you have to be very careful. So first of all, this is the first line of, not defense, but adjustment in terms of those resonances that we heard before, because I was sort of presuming with these sort of textural sounds that it wasn't very velocity dependent, but there are clearly different layers here regarding that. So if I pull down the dynamics all the way, yeah, okay, so this takes away that element. Okay, let's there was a dropout there. Must have been the CPU. I didn't see a spike here, but I've been having some weird CPU bumps. So seems like one of those. First of all, absolutely stunning. I love this kind of stuff. Just love it. Beautiful. Very playable. I love the textures. Very tastefully directed and sampled. Just have this natural, beautiful, soul put into them. The only thing that I have to keep a very close eye on is the velocity that I play a note with. It's great that we have that control here, but with a library like this, I would mostly work with a relatively consistent velocity between the notes. Obviously, and then I would probably jump into the MIDI editor to obviously adjust things here and there, because I don't want everything to be at the same velocity. But here I would probably... So the good news is, not to say that there's really any bad news, this is, first of all, very subjective down to the preference of the composer. Because some people love this kind of thing, but for me, it's a bit too much range. but you can pull back the dynamics control, which I suspect would fix this. The issue is here, though, that I don't know. Yeah, so I want to have access to the because the dynamics control seems to also kind of shave off the samples that are not as dynamic. I simply want to define the so here we have the dynamic range. So it controls how much the volume of the instruments is affected by the dynamics modulation. Okay, so I would have to tweak that to find like a balance that works with my playing. And this is sometimes libraries have like a different idea of how it should be balanced. But yeah, for me, a bit too much fluctuation in that. Then you could also say, Marcus, maybe you should just learn to play better. And to that, I'm going to say, no. I can't be bothered, and I don't have time for that, and all kinds of other excuses. I'd just rather write music instead of getting better as a player. Beautiful, beautiful sound. Obviously a lot of reverb here, so what I want to do as a way of understanding this better, and they said this was done in a very dry space, I'm going to turn off the reverb and play some more. So with this, I had to play sort of medium velocity to sort of get what I'm after for the most part. If I play quieter, I don't get enough, first of all, level, but also I don't get enough of those nice little fluctuations and textures and things that I'm looking for. If I play too loud, I get those big resonant fluctuations. So I'll try and play sort of medium consistently. Yeah, so here again, I'm just not landing on what I'm interpreting in terms of level, what I expect from it. But also, like, this is a very different sound, by the way. Dynamics all the way down. Yeah, I really like the textural changes that come in at the top, but then there's also those volume changes, which are mostly those certain resonances and certain frequencies. So, for me, unless I can... How much of the volume of the instruments is affected by the dynamics modulation? Yeah, I don't quite, I can't seem to find place where I'm super happy. So in terms of like delivering a final finished piece of music, okay? Don't try and twist my words. Not an issue, because I can go into the MIDI editor and adjust things precisely where I want them to be. And if there are too much of those volume differences through those resonances, again, Soothe will save me. But that's obviously extra steps. But again, you know, this is preference of a sound that I would go after. I just don't like those big resonant peaks with the level fluctuation coming in like that. It's just a bit too much for the ear, but very manageable. And I'm not saying it's not I can't land on something where I feel like my playing is connected exactly to the textures that I'm after, because I don't exactly understand what this even means, but it's because I'm lacking severe points in IQ. But yeah, let's try and play a bit more of this dry sound. Yeah, so again here, the fundamental note that I'm playing here, super loud, and these are quiet, even though I'm playing them really hard. So I would need to find like a very easy place for the lower notes, and which I don't seem to be able to do. Okay, that's very interesting. So I played super loud, and now it's quieter. But if I play really quiet, I get a very strong. So shouldn't it be the other way around? That's what I'm thinking here. Did I miss something? Maybe I played with this the wrong way. Nope, still the same thing. What about the other end? No, still the same behavior, so that doesn't do it. That's very interesting. Because I would expect to get the quieter velocity when I'm pressing quieter. So this is a bit confusing how it's mapped to me, and I would again need to jump into the MIDI editor to get what I'm after. But again there, when I played two notes, it was perfect. I'm pretty sure I'm pressing like the same velocity here. And again there, I'm barely hearing this top end. I don't understand what's going on here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That's really weird to me. It seems to like... Okay, so I played louder, and now it's quieter. Beautiful sound. At some point, there are certain points where it's absolutely perfect, the most beautiful, stunning sound, and then some notes I don't understand why it's interpreting the velocity in the texture or the volume that it is doing, and I can't seem to be able to control that unless I go under the hood in Contact. But absolutely beautiful, stunning, soulful sound. That's really nice. I love this dry sound as well. And again, with these types of like textural sounds, and these, you know, they're not quite waves, but you know, these sort of subtle bows, etc. When you move between notes, there aren't a lot of companies that manage to make that sound realistic and, you know, yeah, realistic, organic. But these sound really, really good. And when you move between the notes, it sounds like the actual player is, you know, interpreting that transition. Obviously, it's done in a very specific style. So if that's not the style you want to go for, then tough luck. But I mean, I think contextually for this type of stuff and music, this is just really, really, really well programmed. Yeah, it sounds really super nice. Yeah, so here you get some of that level fluctuation. And again, to me, like, that doesn't musically add much. Like, the volume difference is too big, so I would control that in the mix and get the same emotional effect, just less, you know, less energy there, which to me is kind of disruptive. But again, some people, you know, especially if you're more into the kind of classical realm, some people might like that sound. So subjective to that degree. Beautiful. Yeah, when I talked about the... Okay, so we're still hearing the atmosphere layers here, which I was wondering, you know, reverb all the way down. So one more pass on the truly dry sound. Those releases are beautifully done. That explains why they glue so well together and play so well. Beautiful. Like when I release, it does that release sample, which is like a beautiful breaking down fade of what they're doing. That's really good. And again, might sound a bit abrupt at the end, but with the right touch of reverb, perfectly beautiful. Like you can hear the players sort of let go. Beautiful, just stunning. That's going to work, so that's going to respond so well to all kinds of mixing processes as well. So on that front, really good. Don't know really what to do or what to think about the fluctuation in the, you know, what first of all, what sample am I triggering and how loud it's going to be and how it's going to match the other ones that I played. So that's a big question mark for me, but everything else, like, is just really, really stunning. I would be happy with just that if I just got this sound alone. Let's try the lo-fi just to see what it's like. Yeah, we get limiter clipping. I was kind of thinking about that as a possibility. But you know, there you can hear I'm playing rather consistently. I would estimate pretty much the same velocity, Still, some notes are far louder than the other ones. I would like to find a way to balance the velocity interpretation so that it doesn't trigger samples in that way. It will be more consistent. Lo-fi effect. That's pretty nice. That's pretty well done. Again, something like I would probably do that myself in most cases, just to control the modulation, the noise, all of those different aspects. But that's not to say that this can't work really well. And it's really well done. Sounds lo-fi, has this kind of, should I say, sort of older lo-fi style rather than just, you know, sort of C cassette decks or stuff like that. Although the noise quality is a bit... There's definitely some kind of a reel moving there. But yeah, a nice sort of very vintage tone to it. Very sort of old days type of thing. The reverb also very nice. Obviously very expansive. Again, here we can go into settings. We're on shimmer by default, seems like. This one has more than usually in Fracture Sounds stuff. Usually I think it's a room and a hall, but this one has shimmer and convolution as well. You got damping, modulation, size, so plenty of control for something that's, you know, in contact here, but let's have a listen. That also helps with some of the resonance build-ups. Beautiful reverb, by the way, very tastefully chosen, gives a beautiful presence there, puts it in a space. Obviously we're maxed out here, but very well done. Yeah, very dreamy, hopeful, super well chosen. In terms of the atmosphere layers, oh, but there's so much stuff in here. This one is the Vortex one. Very quiet, as you can hear, or not hear. Yeah, I've said this before, you get so much utility out of these atmosphere stuff, atmosphere layers. You can use them in so many different styles of music. Super flexible, super usable in so many different genres. This one is called Ethos. Kind of a glassy, blowy type of a thing. This is Verdant. Yeah, already we don't even have any of the reverb here, so which makes me think these are, you know, pre-baked, all the effects, etc., into the layer. But I mean, you can max this out and do something super dreamy, cinematic. So even if we don't have a lot of tweakability for these, in fact, almost nothing barring the intensity control, they're still super flexible, very tastefully done and balanced, so they just go right into all kinds of slots. Moving on to flickers. I'm going to turn off the atmosphere layers for the time being, and also actually the reverb, just to get an idea of the source sound itself. It's kind of a denser, fluctuating thing. What I'm already thinking is, would there be a way to allocate certain textures for certain keys only? This is something that certain libraries do. I'm not seeing that functionality here, but this immediately makes me think that it would be a wonderful addition. So I could map, let's say, flickers on certain keys, because let's say for the most part, and again, okay, let me, I wonder, okay, so if I do this, both are selected, but okay, so it seems like I can allocate multiple to make one sound. Yeah, definitely possible. So that's cool. But also what I would love would be to allocate certain articulations only to certain keys, because in my composition there might be a point where I want that F sharp to be a flicker, but then not have any more flickers anywhere else, or maybe have F sharp and C sharp flicker, but not other stuff. That would be super cool, because again, the flicker thing for me seems like something I would use in a single note situation or as a drone or something momentary, instead of, obviously I can just, you know, pop up another instance of Contact and do it that way, but the other way would be sort of integrated inside Contact, so that would be very cool to see. But also nice to see that you can combine the layers. I probably didn't pick that up in Petrichor, and I think I actually talked about this in an email with them. But the textures are, it's not fair to say similar, but when you blend them together, it's harder to tell whether you are blending things or not. Plus, I don't think I extensively tested that, so there you go. This one is called Divergence. Yeah, very cool, kind of very erratic. Again, here, a good demonstration. I wouldn't, you know, write like a section or, you know, pass with that articulation alone. I would love to have that in a certain point in the composition, and then have it go out and blend it with something more sort of like Emergence, for example. But cool. I love having a good arsenal of these textures, because it just gives you more control over your composition. Ricochets. I wonder why I can't pronounce that. Ricochets. There we go. That's better, I think. I was expecting there to be more notes than one. That's actually really nice. I love that. You can hear the sort of the harmonics coming off some of the mechanical noises and resonances. Very nice. There's a bit of latency there. I would suspect it's because it samples at the very beginning, which is very important part of the perception of the sound. But so just so you know, isn't super snappy to play. I love that it's very earthy, very approachable, very warm. I would have loved to have this sound on my Pirate album. Top end begins to sound a bit tighter. I would expect it's because it's probably harder to play. Definitely dynamic, responsive, velocity responsive, but there's a certain minimum that you only get to with that. Short swells. Sometimes it does. Limiter clipping. We'll have to pull that down. Very nice texture. It's glassy, but it's pleasant and warm. Usually when I say glassy, it doesn't tend to be a great connotation for me. I don't tend to enjoy those types of sounds, just from a subjective point of view. But that's very round and pleasant. Sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Can't think of it. Yeah, very cool. Very round. Stutters. I do. It's like having your own personal chicken coop. No, in all seriousness, I love that sound. I love every time there's when stuff is sampled rhythmically, I as a composer can control obviously when it begins to trigger, and then I can play with rhythms very easily and creatively just by altering the point of insertion, the point of actually playing the note. So that's super cool. Obviously, even if I play them at the same time, they're going to have their own patterns. So that's roughly at the same time, but then if I alter that, that's further going to change it. So really, really cool stuff. Love this kind of stuff. Again, beautifully sampled, very warm, down to earth, approachable, personal. Really good. I love that. I wish there was more rhythmical stuff here also, sort of maybe less randomized. Obviously I understand this is the style of that this is done in, but just makes a man want more. Reflections. really loving that. Again, you get these weird kind of harmonic sparks almost coming out of it, going to the side. Momentary, like, perception of a harmony. It's really, really cool stuff. I really like this. And again, the rhythmic aspect, I can just sparse things out to influence the flow. This is very, very good. Oh, we were muted. So I don't know exactly what we missed there, but yeah, it sounds super responsive to further treatment. So even though it has a very specific sound here, I can hear that. I can put effects, reverb stuff in there, and you can do super interesting things with it. So very cool. It's not only this one thing, but I can hear that, hey, I can tweak it with effects and stuff, and it will be super crazy. I don't know if the part about the folk came on. Probably not, didn't come through. But yeah, I mean, my understanding of folk music in terms of where it happened and when it happened is extremely poor, but it does give me very strong, like, certain types of folkish vibes, which I'm a big fan of. And it kind of shoots off those, okay, I'm going to pull down the limiter a lot, kind of shoots off those glassy harmonic resonances, and they kind of sound like sort of lasers, but cool, like very, very interesting sound. Kind of does those sort of kind of a perception of a micro melody, I guess. Not the best mix of effects here, but just wanted to momentarily explore that. Deviations, we have to pick this up because there's still so many other instruments. We haven't even gone through this one instrument yet. Deviations. Really loving this. This kind of low end of the violin done in this way sounds like more like a reed type of a instrument, something like a broken mechanical harmonium thingy with some stuff in there. Again, super apparent that it's gonna respond really well to all kinds of effects and stuff, so very cool. Let's move on because otherwise this is gonna take the entire day. So solo cello textures. Seems like all the articulations are the same, so we're probably gonna skip a few this time so that we get through this, but this is the default sound. Yeah, again, I love the Emergence. Really nice texture, beautiful, soulful, emotional in that sort of style. Very cool. Want to hear the Ricochets here? Let's pull that reverb back and also the atmosphere layers. It might sound odd for some people. I actually really like that. It's raw, plucky, down to earth. I can treat that very easily to take it into different directions. Let's do the other ones as well, real fast. Flickers. Divergence. Beautiful sound. Big differences in level, but you know that's fine as long as it's consistent within itself. The articulation. Yeah, this really gives. I know it says solo, but you know, obviously when you play harmonies, it sounds more like a section. Can give you that really good, very, very small chamber size. Well, not even chamber, but you know, solo players together. Stutters. Let's give it some reverb. That kind of spits a bit too much top end into that reverb, but again, what I love about these is that they sound very, you know, responsive to treatment, so I'm on board with that. Reflections. Cool sound. Wish more control over the pitch fluctuations, but that's a bit of a tough ask. Deviations. That's very nice. I love this kind of stuff. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. I actually love that reverb on that. Obviously kind of creates an almost awkward kind of sense of space, and the players there sort of, you know, doing whatever they're doing, but that's what's exciting and beautiful about it to me. Very nicely pairs with that reverb. Gives a very immense, well, I shouldn't say immense, gives a very realistic sense of space there. Cool. Next up, violin and cello combined. We're going to skip this one because I presume it's the first one plus the second one. Oh, what the heck, let's play it real quick. But But yeah, same stuff. Probably would have been smart to just start with this. I usually have this realization of during the demos at some point. But, you know, live and learn, or just live and never learn. Clipping the limiter there. Yeah, beautiful. That's the patch I would go for in most cases. Yeah, stunning stuff. All right, we are moving into the infamously rare, the rarest of all instruments, Faulkner Dulcichord. Dulcichord. I think because it's Dulcimer. Dulcimer. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, super rare. You'll never see this in any form during your lifetime, except in trails, but only digitally. Never see it in flesh. Never. I mean, you can't even see it here because it's not here. Like, there's not even an image of it. But let's play it. Try and get that level a bit better. Again, the peaks are quite peaky. You have the atmosphere layers going. Very beautiful. Reminds me of Glacier Keys actually quite a bit. Has those same qualities for understandable mechanical reasons. But yeah, very beautiful. Get those atmosphere layers. Yeah, I mean, beautiful sound. I love all the mechanical sounds, all of that stuff. We got color. You can make it brighter. or you can make it darker. I really like that. Like I've said before, it's kind of like a really good general control to get your sound closer to where you want to go. Timbre shift, let's pull it down. So kind of changes the timbre. Broken tuning, I like this. Obviously a bit challenging on the ear, but a bit of that. So it kind of first gets chorusy, well, I mean when it becomes audible, but if we try and keep it down. There you can already hear it kind of chorusing up. Yeah, like going for a very gentle touch can give that wobbliness. Key noise. Okay, so this is the mechanical sound control. Love that. Lo-fi. So yeah, good. I presume that's similar effect, probably tuned for this. Delay reverb, cool. I really like that raw sound. Also, these atmosphere layers paired really well with it. The only thing is, like, if you sustain a lot, they will ring out there, so you have to control that better than I did. Cool, good addition. Because I would primarily view this to, you know, be getting the strings out of this and to have like really good quality other stuff. It feels like a really big bonus. Synths. So this just opens up in the layers engine. Open these boxes, you get choices, quite a few here. And then you blend them. So let me adjust this window a bit. Presume that's all right looking. Let's just start playing and see what we get. Sorry about that. Yes. So again here, this is a very interesting approach because you add it has 3 layers. As you move the mod wheel up, you introduce those layers. And presumably, like here we have layer 1, none of layer 2, and then it comes in, and then none of layer 3, and then it comes in, or proportionally, which is an interesting approach, but I would love to have more options as well, like in terms of, because this kind of simultaneously sounds like it's controlling a filter. Sorry, I must have bumped my own volume level here to balls it up, make it sound really loud for me, but not for you. I'll boost the level. So it seems like it's doing other stuff as well, which you then don't have control over. Maybe it's only the perception. I mean, if it's only the perception of how these are combined, they're really well combined to give you that perception, but it sounds like there is a... I don't know. But probably not, because we have low pass, high pass, although these could be just general controls versus like a inbuilt general filter. But yeah, I mean, okay, so I think it is implemented, because last time I tested this, I remember that this modulation control would sort of cycle through them. So as I went through one, now I would only have sound 1. Then halfway here I would have something between 1 and 2, but then at 2 I would only have 2. Layer 2. Between layer 2 and 3, a mix of 2, but then at 3 I would only have layer 3. But now it has all of them, so I think it's implemented what I was asking for last time. I'm sure many others did as well. So this is good from that regard. Ah, I see. So they are kind of like not endlessly. I mean, you could adjust the release here, I presume, but cool. Okay, yeah. So as far as I can tell, not many presets here. You gotta just find your own combination. Obviously, you compress in the middle here, and it shuffles that. Let's do that just for the sake of time and the health of my brain. Play a few of these shuffled ones. Clipping, yeah, I mean, some of these are bound to be, different, so they're gonna have different levels, different resonances. Has that certain kind of a big, spacey, bit sort of bubbly, sparkly sound. Obviously, we've only played a few sounds, but it tends to have that kind of a color. Also a bit of like that organ quality there as well. Seems like the style is pretty consistent there. It's an interesting inclusion and probably comes from the way Alexander writes and likes to work. I mean, obviously all the combinations of these sounds with one another here. We'd be here for a very long time if we went through all of those, but yeah, that does expand the possibilities quite a bit. It does tend to have that kind of spacey-ish sound with those kind of sparkling organ shimmer-like qualities. That's a very organ-like thing. Let's move on to the next one, Granular. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but I'm not getting sound here for some reason. I'm sure there is an explanation to that. I see key activation. I see activation even in here. Let's go. Okay, so we got a menu here. Alex Parsons snapshots. A long flight. Let's choose that. Let's see if we get something. Okay, I'm getting MIDI in. The keys are also moving. And the granular system is doing something. And the voices are also working, but I don't seem to be getting an output out of here. Which is very puzzling. Let me actually look at the email in case they had some kind of issue with this and in case they told me how to fix it, and I didn't do that yet. So, alright, so it doesn't seem like there is anything wrong with that as far as I can tell. So I'm just going to go ahead and reload this in Contact, which works. So good. I don't know what happened there, but let's play. That's very cool. I like that principle very much. Alright, so these are in folders of Alex Parsons snapshots. Then we have strings and synths. Probably, let's do a few from each. Long flight. Cool, kind of a bubbly thingy. So intensity, you know, how fast we're going essentially. Mutate, guess that kind of mixes up something. I can't really see in here what it's doing in the granular thing. Some kind of a chance of, I mean, obviously I can move things around like this. So yeah, I would love more feedback in terms of what's going on here. So now, okay, so it's forward grains. All right, makes sense. Mutate, I can't see what it's doing. So it seems like mutate means some kind of a pitch wobble. Density is very nice. I like that. Really liking grain shape. That's also super cool. Tracking, yeah, position. Okay. So there we go. That's very nice, very convenient. Speed. Okay, now we're talking. We have visual feedback more. Maybe a bit more use of colors would be nice. Spray. Okay, yeah, but now I see what's what, so that's cool. Maybe a bit more colors, stuff like that. But I'm happy there is the feedback. That's good. pretty quiet for you, but yeah, I tried to boost it a bit at the end. But when you're dealing with these, you know, the level goes all the way. You know, it's all kinds of things. My brain is pretty fried at this point. But let's push onwards. I really like this. Again, I just tweaked around stuff very quickly, found out that I like the spray. I like the grain shape control, super intuitive, fast. I got interesting results right out of the gate. Super nice, super nice. Let's do another one from Parsons. Limiter clipping. Kind of more like a synthy thing. Oh, I love that. Okay, so intensity seems like a filter, at least like a shelf type of thing. I really like this. Again, just a bit of tweaking, the grain shape, the spray, very nice. Very good sounding, very crisp, very defined. Yeah, I'm liking this engine a lot. Let's do a grain of salt. Very nice, very nice. I'm starting to think that this alone would be a great standalone instrument. I'm actually hoping they make Granulate 3, because this so simple, few tweaks, instantly get interesting, inspiring sounds. I worked with many granular engines, but this has a very clear simplicity, and it seems super responsive. Just a couple of controls. I mean, even this is super cool. Yeah, I mean, they have to make Granulate 3, right? That is so cool. And then it would be even nicer if they just imported a crap ton of fracture sounds samples in there. I would be, I was going to say something inappropriate, but I would be rather pleased to see that. I love this engine already. Just a few plays with this. Data Ghost. Don't particularly... I think the pitch fluctuation could be worked on. That's so nice. I love the sound of that. That's really, really good. Okay. Let's do mitosis. Mitosis hurt. Okay, I'm never gonna do that joke again. Try and boost this up for you. Such a cool sound. Kind of turns into this synthetic thing, but it retains the organic quality as well. Yeah, intensity as a name it just seems like more like a tone filter thing. Again, I love the sound of this. Really good. Let's go into synths. Let's do one from each. Let's do distant problems because that's how I like my problems. Limiter, let's pull that down. That is so good, it's so smooth and poppy. That. Good stuff. Soft. Let us do Ursa major, because we are a major bear ourselves. At least I'm trying to be. Ooh, nice low end. Oh, that's so nice. I love when you change the grain shape, it kind of pitches it with it. That's a tremendous example of how the spray works. That's beautiful. Well, I think we've come to the we've come. Yes, that's exactly what I want to say. On a video on YouTube. We've come to the end. There is still the lightweight granular presets, but I'm not interested in any lightweight stuff. Don't send me any lightweight stuff. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so a lot to unpack here. First of all, this is a very comprehensive offering. The scope of the sound of it is also vastly more diverse than I expected. And also, like, in terms of the sound of it and the creativity of it, even vastly more scopy than what I expected. I mean, going section by section, which I usually try and do. So the strings, let's actually open those up. Let's get the combined power here. Let's just checking it shows up for you. Really loving this. Again, loving the more sort of subtle, soulful, emotional, heart-aching textures here, like Emergence and Deviations were kind of like that. Also the shorter, pluckier stuff, really good. Obviously, kind of use case dependent thing, but like Emergence alone, I would be happy just to have that and play some soul-aching string music with that. Really cool. We did have the kind of question mark of what dynamics trigger at what velocity, because it didn't seem very consistent to me at times, but at certain times things sounded perfect, so I don't really know what to make of that. But it seemed like there was an inverse relationship between some of the velocities I played and the sounds I got out. Interested in hearing other people's experience with that, and maybe Fracture Sound experience with that, or thoughts. But yeah, I mean, just I could take Emergence alone and just write with that. Just stunning sampling, recording, mixing, the programming on that one, really great. The atmosphere layers, we only had a peek of those, but they can give you that added dimensionality if you don't want to go just for like a super raw organic sound. So they can sort of blend between genres quite nicely. And as I've said a million times already, atmosphere layers on their own, I mean, just look at this. I mean, I actually don't know if you see this drop down menu, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 atmosphere layers. Yes. Which sound great on their own, and you can just write cinematic music with them alone and throw a bit of reverb there, and there you have a score already. So that's really cool. Faulkner Dulcichord, super rare. Nobody's ever even seen this instrument. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, sounded very, very pleasant, very organic, nice to play with. Nothing to fault there. In my eyes, like a super nice bonus for that when you need a bit of something different. The synths folder, like I said, it has a very specific style, like a sort of old school, spacey, shimmery, organy like thing. Even if I shuffled around many of the synth sounds, seems like it wants to tilt towards that kind of a sound. But we scratched only the surface, and obviously you can just use one layer at a time if you want. So there's a lot of versatility, a lot of testing there, but has that sound, does that sound very solidly. But beyond that, with our very limited testing, it doesn't seem like he wants to do another sound than that. The granular really blew my mind. It's just such a beautiful, simple engine. I want to open it up here just to see this, but I mean, just the spray, grain shape, density control alone gives it so much scope, and we have fantastic source samples here as well. I especially like these the strings and the synths, and obviously Alex's presets probably use some of those same samples, but just put into his own style. But just yeah, very, very inspiring, very jaw-dropping for me. And like I said, it makes me want to see this as a standalone instrument and see Fracture Sounds not only dump a lot of their samples in there so you can use those, but also make it possible for you to bring in your own samples. This engine, what they've done here has it has a very crisp but simultaneously soft and puffy, pleasant sound. It's just a pleasure to listen to. And yeah, I mean, spray density, grain shape, that alone gives you a lot of fun time. Super inspiring. Just makes me want to see more of this and see it as a standalone product as well. But that being said, obviously this will also serve you really well with what it's packing here. But you know, it just makes me want more, being greedy as I am. But yeah, I mean, we just played a few ones here and they all sounded amazing. And the beauty is, like, even if the preset doesn't work for you, a bit of tweaking and you'll find something interesting for you. So yeah, really cool. Yeah, it's a really one of those really interesting libraries where you go through it and you're like, wow, I can't believe everything that's in there. And that must be really difficult to even communicate as a developer of libraries. Sometimes you know, bump into these libraries and they just have so much in them and they're so creative across the board and have such vast scope. But then you have to try and market and sell it with something. Obviously, it has the Alexander Parsons angle. So if you know his work, then you have a better idea of what you're getting yourself into. But you know his palette of sounds. But yeah, this has a ton of scope. And yeah, my favorites are the string, that specific string articulation, which I'm a huge fan of, and this granular engine. All right, cool. I think that wraps it up. That's a really cool offering. So go check it out if you think you might be using it for making music. Let me know in the comments what you think, either about the instrument if you have it yourself or of this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.